What's the correlation between liver damage and joint pain? Let's talk about it. So your body's really interesting. It actually has these little enzymes that are called matrix metalloproteinases, or I'll just refer to them as MMPs. And these are really important in how your body actually heals and regenerates things like scar tissue and damaged collagen tissue. And they're also really important in liver repair. So as crazy as it may sound, these enzymes are actually responsible for breaking down damaged collagen tissue. So they actually kind of digest the damaged tissue, and when they do this, they will release the specific growth factors that are attached to the damaged tissue. And then these growth factors will actually cause an inflammatory response, and this inflammatory response will signal for the body to actually repair what these MMPs have broken down. So when we have things like liver damage, these MMPs will actually break down the damaged tissue, and then these growth factors will stimulate regrowth of healthy tissue in replacement. And as you may be able to tell, if we have too many of these MMPs, we'll be breaking down more than we will be building up. However, it's not just the liver that these MMPs function, they also function on things like connective tissue. And when we have liver damage, these MMPs will be localized to the liver, but some will get in the bloodstream and travel around the body. And this is when they'll start attaching to things like connective tissue and causing the same inflammatory cascade. And as we know, when a tissue is inflamed, this is actually what causes the pain. So the more MMPs we're actually producing inside of the liver, the more are likely to get into the bloodstream and start attaching to other collagen tissues. And collagen is actually made up of protein, so let's say we're not eating enough protein, we will be breaking down these tissues, but we may not be giving our body sufficient protein to rebuild these tissues. And this is a scenario where liver damage can actually cause us to degrade healthy connective tissue. It also appears that these growth factors actually reduce as we age, so someone who is older and has liver damage will have a harder time repairing. So these MMPs are actually extremely necessary to repair damaged tissue. However, we need to strike a balance because we simply can't repair all the tissue at once. And the more of these MMPs that we're actually producing in response to liver damage, the more of this inflammatory cascade we need to recover from. And since repair is actually a pretty energetic process, and the liver is probably much more important than your connective tissue, we will prioritize our nutrients to the liver. And we may actually neglect trying to repair this damaged connective tissue. And now if we step away from the liver, the same is true for trying to strengthen muscle and connective tissue. The initial stage of trying to strengthen anything is actually a catabolic process. After mechanically loading a joint or a muscle, for the first period of time we're actually in a net state of protein loss. But given sufficient amount of nutrients and time for recovery, we will actually increase our protein synthetic rate and be in a net protein increase. But there are a lot of things that can actually inhibit this process. If we don't supply enough nutrients, if we do too much damage that we simply cannot get in a positive protein balance, or if we throw a repeated bout of muscle damage at the exact same tissue too soon and we don't give ourselves enough time to reach this positive protein balance. You can think about this like your grass. If for some reason you want your grass to grow up to 6 inches, but you keep mowing it every time it reaches 5, you'll never reach 6 inches or beyond. If we're looking to gain body protein, we need to have more protein synthesis than protein breakdown. And if you want to look at the other side of the coin, if we're looking to lose body fat, we need more body fat breakdown than we have body fat accrual. And the same is true for healing from injury. If we want to heal from injury, we need to first allow the process of catabolizing the damaged tissue to occur, and then we need the proper resources and nutrition in order to lay down healthy tissue, which means the less inflammation we have throughout the entire body, the better we will be able to repair a specific area. And I know this episode was kind of random, and I'm going to leave this one here, but I hope it just brings to your attention the importance of recovery and the importance of trying to reduce inflammation as much as possible so we can prioritize our nutrients into growing rather than repair. And I guess to at least leave you with a little something, if you want to avoid liver damage, I suggest avoiding things like alcohol, which will damage the liver. And the reason I mention alcohol is because when we drink alcohol, the body will actually stop the metabolization of other macronutrients and focus solely on detoxifying the alcohol, meaning that toxins and fat can actually stay stagnant inside of the liver and begin to accumulate, which can actually damage the liver in the long run, which is why they're forced to delineate between alcoholic fatty liver disease and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Simply before the introduction of the Western diet, it appeared that the only reason that most people got fatty liver disease was due to the consumption of alcohol. So we have known for a long time that the consumption of alcohol can lead to excessive liver damage. With that being said, thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Have a great